Good morning, Salam Alaikum. Welcome to Baina News Stall. I am Joy Preston, bringing you all the latest headlines in Ghana, Africa, and across the world. A quick rundown of our headlines for today. ECOWAS held 59th ordinary session on Saturday. Also, ECOWAS countries urged to manufacture COVID-19 vaccine. President Akufo-Addo expresses condolences to Zambia over the loss of its first president, Kenneth Kodwa's death. Minority files motion for probe into sponsor vaccines procurement. And Ghana targets $3 billion in foreign direct investment for 2021. Let's move straight into our first headline. ECOWAS held 59th ordinary session on Saturday. So some heads of state and government of the economic countries of West Africa, ECOWAS, converged in Accra on Saturday to hold its 59th ordinary session. The regional meeting, chaired by our president, Nana Akufo-Addo Dankwa, also considered the outcome of the 86th ordinary session of the Council of Ministers of ECOWAS, which was held from last week Thursday at the Movenpick Hotel. Some of the leaders who were part of the meeting include President George Manneh Weah of Liberia, President Adam Barrow of the Gambia, President Patrice Gulami Atansi Talon of Benin, President Umaru Sissoka Embalo of Guinea-Bissau, President Alpha Conde of Guinea, and President Roch Marc Christian of Burkina Faso. During the two-day ministerial meeting, the Council considered a memorandum on the post-COVID-19 industry recovery plan, the 2021 midterm report of the President of the ECOWAS Commission, and the ongoing institutional reforms at the ECOWAS, among others. In other news, countries were also urged to manufacture the COVID-19 vaccines. This was according to President Akufo-Addo. He emphasized that there is a need for the countries in the sub-region to manufacture their own vaccines, acknowledging the effort being made by some countries in the region to produce the vaccine. President Akufo-Addo said in a quote, "We need as a community to contribute to the global discourse on access and availability of vaccines for all the people of the world." He made the call during the opening session of the 59th ECOWAS Summit, which was held last week and closed on Saturday. In a quote, he said, "Through the COVAX initiative, all the countries in the region have taken delivery of some vaccines, supplemented by direct procurement by some member states. I thank foreign friends of the community who have contributed to funding the initiative. We note, however, that the quantities received are woefully insufficient," he added. "We must thus continue to work on the purchase and production of vaccines in our region. We have to encourage members of our community, Nigeria, Senegal, and Ghana, which are making the effort to produce their own vaccines. We cannot afford to be naked the next," he stressed. Okay, so that was in the closing of the ECOWAS 59th session, which was held last week and closed on Saturday. The leaders of the West African member states converged together in Accra to discuss major things affecting West Africa. One of the biggest issues they had to talk about was the manufacturing of vaccines, and President Akufo-Addo, who is the head of the ECOWAS, stressed that there is a need for countries in West Africa to contribute their own quotas in terms of producing the COVID-19 vaccines, highlighting that even though we've received support from countries across the world, there's a need for us to contribute, adding that countries such as Senegal, which by the way has actually gotten its permit to start manufacturing COVID-19, it's not enough just for Senegal and Morocco and Egypt to do so, but countries such as Ghana, Nigeria and Burkina Faso must also add to the manufacturing of COVID-19 vaccines. That's a fantastic move there by ECOWAS, and the call by the head, who is our president, President Akufo-Addo. Okay, let's move on to the next story. We are told that the president expresses condolences to Zambia over its former first president. Its former president is Kenneth Kodwa. He recently passed away. President Nana Addo, on behalf of the people of Ghana, and on his behalf, he said, I extend sincere condolences to the president, government, and people of Zambia on the loss of their first president and one of the icons of Africa's independence movement, Kenneth David Kondwa. He added, may his soul rest in perfect peace. Okay, so let's move on to other headlines. Minority files motion for probe into Spontive vaccines procurement. We are told that the minority in Parliament has filed an urgent motion requesting for bipartisan probe into Ghana's procurement of Spontive vaccines at $20 instead of $10 as it is practiced in many countries. He stated that although the transaction was an international and economic one within the meaning of Article 1815 of the Constitution, Parliament was not aware of such transaction. It therefore said a bipartisan probe would help to understand the procurement processes that were resorted to by the Ministry of Health to procure those vaccines. In a quote, he says, we are calling for bipartisan probe because for all intent and purposes, we think that transaction is an international and economic transaction within the meaning of Article 181 of the Constitution, is stated. Addressing Parliament, the minority leader, Mr. Haruna Idrisu, said in a quote, Parliament is not aware of the transaction. Continuing, he said, we want to appreciate and understand the procurement processes that were used, and more importantly, to demand value for money for the Ghanaian taxpayer, and that we are not just seeking to profit from COVID-19 with this questionable transaction, he stated. Okay, so the minority leader, Mr. Haruna Idrisu, has called for a probe into the Spontive vaccine procurement. He said that ordinary Ghanaians have the right to know what their monies are being used for. He further added that Parliament was not even aware of the transaction. I'm sure that there will be more development into that story in the coming days. Let's move on to the next headline. Okay, so talking about numbers. Ghana targets $3 billion in foreign direct investment for 2021. This was according to the CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, Mr. Yofi Grand. He disclosed that the country has targeted to raise $3 billion in foreign direct investment in 2021. Speaking at a press conference during the weekend, he said, Mr. Grant said that $780 million in foreign direct investment had already been raised so far this year. He added in a quote, he said, for every country, foreign direct investments are recognized as very important to its economic and socio-economic development. In Ghana, he said, I dare say that over the past few years, we have upped our game and our economy has become more attractive. Indeed, he said, since 2017, Ghana's economy grew by 8.1%, and through 2019, we had an average growth of 7%. This symbolizes a country that is walking the talk and doing all it needs to do to become one of the fastest growing economies in the world. He stated that in 2020, Ghana raised $2.65 billion in foreign direct investment despite the negative impact of COVID-19 on global economies. He further added that according to the foreign direct investment, accordingly, foreign direct investment grew. And he said that our foreign direct investment in 2017 was $4.9 billion. It dropped marginally in consonance with the drop in global foreign direct investment in 2018 to 3.54 billion. In 2019, it further dropped to $1.01 billion. The interesting thing, however, is that despite the negative impact of COVID-19 on global economies, Ghana saw an increase in foreign direct investment in 2020 to $2.65 billion. Very interesting there. The head of the Ghana, the CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion, Mr. Yofi Grant, has said that the foreign direct investment that Ghana has as of 2021 so far is $3 billion. And he added that despite the fact that there has been a lot of shake in the global economy because of COVID-19, Ghana, however, saw an increased growth, and it has maintained a growth of 7% consistently over the years. This, I'm sure, is a fantastic news for investors and those that are looking to invest in Ghana. To have such stable growth is a great news for us there. Okay, let's move on. BOG, Bank of Ghana, starts domestic gold purchases as reserves. Let's see what this is about. Okay, the Bank of Ghana has launched a special program to purchase gold from local producers to help shore up the country's gross international reserves, GIR. The first of its kind, the central bank is hopeful that the initiative will help double its gold holdings in the GIR in the next 5 years to help foster confidence in the local currency, enhance currency stability, and create a more attractive environment for foreign direct investments to spur economic growth. The bank also expects to leverage the increased gold holdings to raise cheaper sources of funds to provide short-term foreign exchange liquidity for the economy. It comes at a time when the bank's gold holdings has remained static at 8.77 tons for 15 years. Although the country has been producing gold for more than a century, becoming in Africa in 2029. This is great news for Ghana to start backing the currency with gold. Okay, so we are told that the central banks of developed countries such as the United States of America, the United Kingdom, Germany, and other European countries keep part of their reserves in the precious metal as a store of value and buffer for their currencies. I think this is a historic move by the Bank of Ghana to be the first to start this, I believe, even across Africa, to literally start backing up the local currency with gold. And we are told that countries such as the United Kingdom, the United States, Germany, and other European countries have followed similar strides. And no wonder their currencies have actually been able to withstand a lot of economic shocks. You name it. We've been through situations, we've had global crisis whereby we've seen, different currencies dropping across Africa. But when you compare this to other countries, such as the US, even the much more developed countries, you find that their currencies have stayed stable. And part of that is because they have backed their currencies with the precious metal gold. It's about time Ghana started it, being one of the biggest gold producers in Africa. Fantastic move there by the Bank of Ghana. I'm sure the financial services across Ghana will be very, very happy to hear about this news. Okay, let's move on to other news. We're told by Professor Atuguba that until we empower Ghanaians legally, the law will serve only the privileged. Let's see why. Now, Professor Atuguba is the Dean of the University of Ghana School of Law. He says that until government puts in place measures to empower the citizenry in legal affairs, the law will only continue to serve the rich and privileged. According to him, due to a general lack of legal empowerment in the country, those who have less money, less privilege, fewer connections, cannot access the best of legal services to make the law serve them. He added, it's been a big problem in many third world countries. Yes, he explained that through legal empowerment, ordinary people who ordinarily don't have those resources for legal intervention by themselves, with the help of cheaper or even volunteer paralegals, will be able to make the law work for them. I think this is a great call here by Professor Atuguba, which is very, very true. You find that to access legal services is extremely expensive. There are people who are unable to pursue personal cases, business cases, because it's simply just too expensive to even seek for the advice of a lawyer. Sometimes you are told that they even charge in dollars. You begin to ask yourself, how many appearances do you have to make in court, and how is that lawyer going to even charge you? So it really discourages the ordinary person, and they simply let go and just allow things to be. And many will always say that time is the healer of all pains. But I believe that this call by Professor Atuguba should be taken seriously, that legal services should be made available at a much more affordable rates for the ordinary citizenry to be able to afford such services. Fantastic move there. Okay, let's talk a bit about Pragya. I'm sure many will be wondering, what does Pragya mean? We are told that Pragya rules Kumasi roads. The India-made tricycle, popularly referred to as Pragya, meaning God's wonder gift, is considered a necessary evil and major driver of the transportation sub-economy of Kumasi. Its nuisance and mostly lack of respect for traffic regulations notwithstanding, the tricycle has become a major medium for commuting within the metropolis. The relevance of the vehicle has become even more pronounced following the recent hike in fuel prices. Okay, so we are told that this medium of transportation actually came from India. It's called Pragya, meaning God's gifts. It has now dominated the metropolis of Kumasi. Reasons being, it's very easy for it to move within traffic, and it's also very competitive in terms of prices. We are told that beyond the comparable low charges, Pragya's ability to navigate through heavy taxi drivers are also complaining that Pragya is competing so much with them, it's literally taking them out of business. Let's see why. Despite its just Abo, Sawabo, and both passenger and groceries from the central business district to different locations, sometimes with loud music on board. Okay, some taxi drivers have also expressed their concerns. They said that it is slowly killing the taxi business, and together with the Bolt or Uber drivers, they may have to look for an alternative business together with the competition from such devices such as Uber and Bolt, who are also charging very competitive rates. I think what the taxi drivers or transport unions should be looking at is maybe looking for a middle ground somewhere where they can maintain prices so that commuters, passengers can literally still be able to board taxis instead of maybe going on Bolt or on Uber. For instance, I don't think I will take Pragya because obviously it's not very safe. It's very frail. We're also told, amongst others, that there are a lot of major road accidents that these or tricycles have been in. And in Mosul, can you compare that to, let's say, a taxi? Yes, so I think there should be a way round to regulating days, even though to survive due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So these sort of moves are things we want to see literally coming down, like trickling into small businesses that want to survive, and not just, words that we received all this money and then we don't know what it's going into. It's into African countries and their economies. It's about COVID. Africa is in the midst of a full-blown third wave. Health officials in Africa have called for an urgent acceleration in the supply of vaccines to the continent to curb a new wave of COVID-19 infections and the evolution of new potentially dangerous variants received a vaccine. So fewer than 1 in 100 people has received the COVID-19 vaccine, meaning the surging infections are likely to kill tens of thousands. The WHO say that first detected in South Africa as well. At least 7 African countries have run out of vaccines and 7 more have used 80% of their stocks. Among the worst hit countries are South Africa, Tunisia, Zambia, Uganda, and Namibia. The third wave of infections in South Africa has come after multiple delays to its vaccines program. The country has recorded 58,000 deaths from COVID-19 through access. Mortality figures suggested the true total is closer to 160,000. So there is a call there that there is a need to accelerate the supply of vaccines to countries within the African continent, given that the COVID-19 infection evolution is now, beginning to soar much more than expected. And we're also told that fewer than 1 in 100 people have literally received the vaccines. So let's hope that that would be a call that is taken seriously. I believe that this is one of the reasons why the ECOWAS recent meeting in Accra was very, very needful, with the call by President Akufo-Addo that more countries within Africa should be looking into manufacturing the vaccines so that there can be a much more even distributions across Africa. Okay. Raising capital for Africa's development goals. Now we're told that again the African Development Bank has launched a $464 million 5.5 kangaroo social bond, its first return to Australian fundraising in 2018. Okay. All right, so that is another injection into Africa there by the African Development Bank.